Stop doubting yourself and start believing in yourself. The biggest mistake you can make at this age is to not believe in yourself. The most powerful tool you have is your mind and your mindset and who you are. Believing in what you do and what you want to do is going to take you much further than reading books about it and listening to other people about it. Because if you trust yourself and you know exactly where you want to be and where your goal is, then you will go there. But the problem is that if you don't listen to yourself and you don't believe in what you're doing and you doubt yourself, it will be much harder for you to get there. You really need to believe in what you're doing. You really need to have faith that where you want to be, you will end up being there. Who you want to be, you will be that person. This goes for everything, for finding love, for finding friendships, for finding your purpose, or career. So this is actually an essential mindset for a successful life. Specifically focusing on career, if I pay more attention to that, I have had so many different passions for so many different things. There's so many different things that interest me. Because of this, it's harder to stick with something. But once you find something that you really enjoy and you can see yourself doing that for the rest of your life, if you every day work towards that, you will be that. You will do that because you literally manifest that already. Well, if your mind is like, I see myself doing that, that's what I'm gonna do, that's where I'm gonna be at, you will be there. But if you doubt yourself and you think that the way I'm gonna get to that place, the way I'm gonna get to there is gonna be difficult and hard and almost impossible, then it will be like that. This is very linked with my previous episode on where I talked about how you can change and control your own environment. This is so similar. You are completely capable of changing what's around you, just like you're capable of changing your future. You are in charge of it. So you need to really start living to your utmost potential, because what's happening is that when you doubt yourself, you are sending messages to the universe, you're sending messages around you that you are not able to do this, that you don't think you can do this. And when you don't think you can do something, you actually will not be able to do that. There needs to be no doubt. Obviously, there's always fear. There's always fear of judgment, fear of society, fear of failure. That's a normal process. We all go through those processes all the time. I go through that process probably 100 times a day. But if you know what you're doing is right and you can see yourself where you're going to end up and you know that everything you're doing will pay off and everything that you believe in will come true, then it will. So some important mindset shifts are, for example, believing that if you see somebody else who does it, that you can do it as well. That you don't think to yourself, because they did it, they are better than me, or they are able to do it but I can't. This is one of the biggest things that can consume us, is comparing ourselves, because really comparison really is the theft of joy. And the only way to work on this is to be self-confident in yourself and really believe in what you're doing and want to do. So listening to your heart, listening to your mind, and to what feels right. If you doubt along the way who you are and who you are as a person, then perhaps maybe this isn't even the right path for you, because you should not be questioning yourself or questioning your morals or values if you're doing something that you really want to do. So, for example, if you're currently focusing on wanting to be something or wanting to do something and you kind of lose your sanity over it and it doesn't really make you happy, but you're hoping that the outcome will make you happy, that is not usually the case, because you should be enjoying what you do already in the process. So not something that's going to make you happy in the long run, because what are you going to be chasing half of your life trying to achieve something that you think is going to make you happy? Instead, focus on something that's making you happy at the moment and will continue to make you happy. Because the things that you want to be successful in and things that you want to achieve in life, those should be from the things that you already enjoy. You know what I mean? So You shouldn't be thinking, I'm going to enjoy this in the future when I have more money, or I'm going to enjoy this in the future when I have the right partner, or when this is possible, when I have that, when I have this. Because if you want to make a living out of something that you like doing, then you can start already now. So if you like singing, then you can already start singing now. And this is actually what our generation usually forgets the most, is that money and fame and all these things, they come after. Because if they've come before finding yourself, then you will struggle with finding yourself after, because you will realize that that doesn't mean as much as you may think it means. So of course it's promoted that, you know, money solves all problems, and that that's all you should care about. And so people are then stuck doing 9 to 5 jobs, trying to chase happiness, trying to chase money, but your problems will follow. So your problems will then develop when you're older. That's why I even started this series, is to really aim to try to talk about these things to my generation, because I feel as though so many people didn't deal with these problems when they're older, and I see it happen with so many people, and then they carry that on to their kids. Instead of, if you just like find what you want to do right now, instead of saving that for when you're in your middle life crisis, which is usually around 40, then you will have a much easier life, because it's much harder to start finding yourself when you're almost 50 years old and you already have a job that it's harder to leave, and you have a family and other people to think of. Right now, when it's only you, when you only have to think about yourself, and you have more things accessible, now's the perfect time to really do things that you want to do. You can always go get that boring job, that lame job that's going to give you a lot of money, if you really think that's going to make you happy. But usually what people realize when they're older is that does not mean happiness. And so I would say that you really need to change your mindset on what's important already at a young age, because that will really help you actually lead a successful life. If you really pour all your attention on a passion that you enjoy and you put a lot of energy into it, of course at some point that is going to benefit you. You know, you will be doing something you like and you will be getting profit from it. Because even if it takes years, which usually anyways it does take years to earn a lot of money, you will at least be doing something you like. Because so many people, when they're in their middle life crisis, they deal with this problem of, you know, being super successful, having huge monetary success, you know, having a lot of money and possessions, but they just still feel empty. They realize that something's not fulfilling them, and that's usually because they're not doing what they want to be doing. And then they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they like, because instead of spending their young adult life trying to figure out exactly what they like doing, what they like spending time on, you know, I'm now on, like, I guess my gap year, you could say, and I've been doing different things almost every day. I went filming for an ad, I went recording at a studio, I have been exploring this podcast, I started posting more content on almost all social media, trying to figure out what exactly makes them happy and what they enjoy doing. Because I think the biggest mistake people make is they just throw themselves into a degree, trying to pursue a degree, or throw themselves at a job or something that they know will have a lot of profit, but actually it will not profit you in the future. You may think that money buys happiness because that is what's promoted all over social media and through everybody, but at some point you will realize that that is not enough. It is not enough, because once you have all the money in the world, yes, you can buy yourself expensive things, you can go and visit, because I'm not saying money's bad, you know, like, of course it gives you opens a lot of opportunities, gives you the opportunity to travel places and experience cultures. Like, of course, it's necessary to have money in this society and in this generation, but I'm trying to say that that is not the only thing that will make you happy. You need to have balance. Everything is about balance. So if you have a great career and earn a lot of money, that is not going to fulfill you, because you're not doing something that you want to do. Obviously, I'm not saying you can't do both at the same time, but usually people just lose themselves trying to chase money, and then they get the money and they're like, well, what now? And it's much harder to deal with that when you have bills and debts and a whole family to take care of and everything like that. It's much harder to then find the opportunity to really find yourself, because you have to think about other people, not only yourself, and it's just much more complicated. That is not to say that people still don't do that, but I'm just trying to advise that the sooner you start doing this, the sooner you start realizing what you want to do and what are your passions, the easier life will be for you. It really will be. You will realize that everything now everything that seems maybe important right now, so impressing your friends or in general, doing things the normal way, but in reality everybody wants to be extraordinary, and you can't be extraordinary if you continue to be ordinary. I hope that makes sense. But you really have to start realizing what is it that makes you special, what is your purpose, what makes you stand out in a crowd full of people of ordinary, in a crowd of ordinary people, because you will then live an ordinary life, if that's what you want, that's great, but I really doubt that anybody would want to have an unfulfilled life, because money is not everything, and without some sort of love for what you're doing or passion behind it, it's gonna be very hard to balance both those things. If you're currently studying a degree or working a full-time job and it's taking a lot of your energy and you feel as though, but I don't have any time to figure myself out, you always do. You just have to start balancing your time right. So you have to start thinking, how much energy do I really need to put into this so I can put my other percentage of energy into this. Even if you only put 20% of your time and your energy into finding yourself, 20% can do a huge thing when you're 20 years old, or 19 years old, 18 years old, 22 years old. Because 20% of your time can still have a huge impact on finding yourself now, rather than having 100% when you're 40, because it's still easier for when you're younger. I would suggest looking at what you find enjoyable to look at, or what do you find makes you jealous of a person doing. This is honestly the best way to finding what you really want to do, because there's probably a lot of fears around that. But if you really, for example, you look at a YouTube video or on Netflix, you see something and you go, wow, that looks so fun, I'm so jealous, or something like that, then start trying to prioritize some of your time onto doing those things, and slowly you will realize what makes you happy. So if you've always had a passion for acting and you really want to act, and when you look at successful actors becoming famous, it almost makes you mad because you want to be living that life, you already know what you have to do. You have to start putting percentage of your time into auditions or courses, or just acting at home, finding opportunities, really working on that, even if it's only 20% of the time, and you will move there slowly, because then at least you're doing something that's fulfilling you. Because if you're, for example, focusing all of your energy into a job that's very time consuming, and then you have a little bit of this freedom for this 20% which focuses on what you want, that is still very beneficial, because I understand that not everybody has the privilege of putting 100% of their time into finding themselves. If you're studying a degree which you really enjoy, and you think that when you're doing this it's fulfilling you and you feel happy and it's what makes you you, then by all means put all your attention on that. I'm not saying that just because you're studying a degree, that doesn't mean that it doesn't have to fulfill you. It can be that's what's you. It can be fulfilling for you. I'm just talking from my personal experiences of going through a course that I just really despised, and was not for me, that I then had to, completely put 100% of my energy into finding myself, because it was just that bad for me. But it doesn't have to be like that. If your course is what makes you you and you enjoy this, then by all means put your attention on that. But it really needs to be something you enjoy, because otherwise you'll be studying all those years chasing something that you don't want to do in the end. To kind of sum it up, I would say the importance of finding what you like at an early age is really beneficial and a privilege, and I would start working on it as soon as you can, because I really think that in the long run it will benefit you. And finding what you like has more privileges than just earning money sometime in the future, but it really is good for the soul, it's good for us, and it will only make you more happy. And you can start by putting a little bit of energy into it, and then you will want to put anyways naturally more energy into it, because you will realize that it's making you happy. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this video finds you well. If you have any further questions, you can comment down below, or if you want to talk to me personally, I will also link in my bio and in my description my website, in which you can request to talk to me on a phone call or on a Zoom call and further discuss any questions that you have.